All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. Now, in a coaching cycle that has seen some teams around the NFL make splashes with their hires, the Dallas Cowboys have simply left their fan base more perplexed than they already were. On the heels of parting with Mike McCarthy as their head coach, the Cowboys this past weekend have decided to go with Brian Schottenheimer to run things in Dallas. Now, Schottenheimer has spent the last 2 years as the Cowboys offensive coordinator, and he is the guy that Cowboys team owner Jerry Jones has pegged to lead his team going forward. A weird offseason just got weirder in Dallas. The Cowboys reportedly lowballed McCarthy, and they thought that he would not say no to their offer when in actuality he did. And in an offseason with so much hoopla, Jerry Jones is now going to have to sell his season ticket holders and his fan base on Brian Schottenheimer. Just let that sink in for a minute, folks. It's one of those where you think about it. Jerry Jones never interviewed Ben Johnson, who was the then offensive coordinator of the Detroit Lions, who is now the head coach of the Chicago Bears. And you never heard about Bill Belichick being brought in for an interview either, just to name a couple of the candidates who were out there. You also couple that with the Derrick Henry fiasco from last offseason, which saw the Cowboys simply settle for Ezekiel Elliott. And this is after Jerry Jones said that Dallas was all in. And at the end of the day, the Cowboys simply continue to be the Cowboys on Jerry Jones's watch, as he only wants yes men to be his head coach because he wants to continue to be the guy in charge. He wants to continue to call the shots in Dallas, and he wants to continue to be the shining star and the biggest star and the only star in relation to the Dallas Cowboys. Now, Brian Schottenheimer, of course, is the son of legendary NFL head coach Marty Schottenheimer, who, in my opinion, should be in the Hall of Fame, and he should have been there years ago. Okay, but nonetheless, the younger Schottenheimer is taking over in Dallas without any previous head coaching experience. Sound familiar? For me, in my opinion, some will disagree with what I'm about to say. Some will agree. It is all good. Okay. Bottom line is, Schottenheimer is going to be the perfect lackey for Jerry's team. Okay. At the end of the day, Jerry Jones has become the emperor with no clothes on, and he continues to attempt to sell people on the fact that he's the smartest guy in the room. Now, the Cowboys could possibly have some success with Brian Schottenheimer. I'm not sure, but I'm not hanging my hat on it because if you look at things with the Dallas Cowboys under Jerry Jones, especially in about the last 30 years, outside of Barry Switzer, the Cowboys have not really had success with a head coach who didn't have previous head coaching experience in the NFL. And of course, in Barry Switzer's case, he came there as a notable college coach from Oklahoma. And then on top of that, he was handed a championship team. But you look at it, and it's the same old song. Jerry Jones really doesn't want established head coaches. Why? Because those guys want some type of say in personnel decisions. Those type of guys are going to command a certain type of pay, and they're also going to command a certain type of respect. So you figure he ran Jimmy Johnson off, he ran Bill Parcells off, and say what you want about Mike McCarthy. He was a Super Bowl winning head coach with the Green Bay Packers, and he also did lead Dallas to three consecutive 12-win seasons. With that said, of course, he didn't have his starting quarterback for the bulk of the season in Dak Prescott. Micah Parsons was also out with injury. And then on top of that, once you eliminate Micah Parsons, Dak Prescott, and CD Lamb from the occasion, the Dallas Cowboys really were not a talented team on either side of the ball. And at the end of the day, who was doing the drafting? It's the same guy who writes the checks. It's Jerry Jones. Okay. So for me, I think at the end of the day, all Brian Schottenheimer is going to be for the Dallas Cowboys is another Jason Garrett. And there are plenty of people who feel like Jerry Jones let Mr. Head Coach 8-8, because that's what he consistently was, hang around too long as the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. And this is going to be another one of those scenarios right there. I'll tell you like this, just by default, going into next season, I don't know what's going to happen with trades, retirements, contract signings, you name it. The Dallas Cowboys, at the very best, are now the third best team in the NFC East, behind the Philadelphia Eagles and behind the Washington Commanders. And the only reason they're the third best team right now is because the New York Giants really don't know what they are doing. And of course, if you're a Dallas Cowboys fan, it definitely had to hurt you, in my opinion. I feel I could be wrong, but I think it did. As far as watching your two biggest rivals in the division get it on for the NFC Championship game, in the NFC Championship game yesterday, and I'm talking about the Philadelphia Eagles and the Washington Commanders. Okay, and of course, both of these teams now have said, "Hey, we've gotten to the NFC Championship game much more recently than the Dallas Cowboys have." And honestly, for what it's worth, every single team in the NFC East has now made the NFC Championship game at least one time since the Dallas Cowboys' last appearance in 1995. Over that stretch, the New York Giants have done it three times, got to the Super Bowl three times, won two titles. The Philadelphia Eagles have now made the Super Bowl for the second time in the last 3 years. And of course, four Super Bowl appearances overall under that stretch. And of course, the one thing that the Dallas Cowboys had over the Washington Commanders franchise was to say, hey, we got there a little bit quicker than you. You can no longer say that's the case. The Eagles are the better run organization. The Commanders, in a very quick time, have become a better run organization than the Dallas Cowboys. And like I said, they are now by default the third best team in that division. So, will the Cowboys have any success on Brian Schottenheimer's watch? I am not holding out any hope. Like I said before, I feel that Brian Schottenheimer is going to be nothing more than a new version of Jason Garrett. And for any Cowboys fan who remembers the Jason Garrett era as the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, in my opinion, buckle up for more of the same. Nothing is going to change with the Dallas Cowboys as long as Jerry Jones continues to call the shots. And at the end of the day, Jerry can say publicly whatever he wants to say about being committed to winning, wanting to win another championship. I'll tell you like this, if you believe it, then you also believe in the Easter Bunny and Santa Claus, okay? Because it's not happening. Jerry Jones, at the end of the day, only cares about making money. His Dallas Cowboys team, franchise, most valuable franchise in the NFL, arguably the most valuable franchise in professional sports. Gets about 80 to 90,000 people at Jerry World per game. And regardless if they are supporting the Cowboys, or if they are supporting the Cowboys opponent, guess who pockets and profits from that? It's Jerry Jones. So if you're a Dallas Cowboys fan, I'm not telling you what to do, but hey, if you want change, stop showing up to the game. Stop supporting his team. Stop buying the merchandise. Because at the end of the day, all you're doing is lining the pockets of one Jerry Jones, and all he cares about is money. Dallas Cowboys have one of the biggest and most boisterous fan bases in all of professional sports. 30 years is a long doggone time between championship. And I'll ask anybody, just think about what you were doing 30 years ago. This is basically the last time that the Dallas Cowboys won the Super Bowl. We've got in less than 2 weeks the Chiefs and Eagles set to get it on for Super Bowl number 59. I'll tell you like this, excuse me, we've got about 7.5 months, give or take, between now and the start of next season for 2025. I am not, okay, unless something drastically changes, I am not putting the Dallas Cowboys in that mix to be a Super Bowl contender, which means it's going to be 30 years uh, right across the board, and probably going to be tacking on to that soon. Nothing is going to change with Jerry Jones. He chased Bill Parcells out of town. He chased Jimmy Johnson out of town. Mike McCarthy was also a Super Bowl winning coach, yes, Didn't have the cachet of maybe a Jimmy Johnson or a Bill Parcells, but I feel like Jerry Jones never gave him the respect that he deserved. And I'm not here to say that Mike McCarthy was the next Vince Lombardi and he deserved that type of treatment. No, but there's still a fine line between things, and Jerry Jones simply did not give him the benefit of the doubt. You get what you pay for. Jerry's paying for crap, and that's the result that the Cowboys are getting on the gridiron, and that is the result that the Cowboys will continue to get on the gridiron. This search was plain and simple done by Jerry Jones. The best thing that you could come up with, or the best person that you could come up with, is Brian Schottenheimer. It's like saying that, you know what? I know that you're hungry. I know that you're ready to feast on something. You've got your mouth set and you're watering for that steak and potatoes. And Jerry walks in the door with some hot dogs and a bag of chips and tells you to dig in and bon appetit. That's basically what he has done to the Dallas Cowboys franchise. Like I've said before, and I will continue to say, nothing and absolutely nothing will change with the Cowboys on the watch of one Jerry Jones. They'll be flashy at times. They'll frustrate you at times. Maybe they'll win a playoff game. That's about it. But nothing is going to change as long as Jerry Jones continues to run this franchise in the fashion that he does. But, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank each and every one of you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take this time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you haven't already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on the X, formerly known as Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it will be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. Now you can check it out. Drop a line to be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin, and I am signing off. And I'm saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.